Students, in this video, we are going to learn about infertility, assisted reproductive technology, and detection of fetal disorders during early pregnancy. First, we are going to see about infertility. So, what do you mean by infertility? It is an inability to conceive or produce children even after unprotected sexual cohabitation. That means the inability of a man to produce sufficient number or quality of sperms to impregnate a woman. Or in the case of women, it is the inability of a woman to become pregnant or to maintain pregnancy. So that is called as infertility. Okay. So what are the causes of infertility? So first one, so there may be growth of tumors in pituitary or reproductive organs, inherited mutants of genes which are responsible for biosynthesis of sex hormones. So next, malformation of cervix or fallopian tubes, and inadequate nutrition before childhood. Then long-term stress damages many aspects of health, especially menstrual cycle. Then ingestion of toxins, heavy usage of alcohol, tobacco and marijuana, injuries to gonads and aging. So these are the things that cause infertility. So next we are going to see about other causes of infertility. Apart from those causes of infertility, what are the other causes of the infertility? So in the case of women, that is pelvic inflammatory disease, that is PID, uterine fibroids and endometriosis. So these are also cause infertility in women. Also low body fat or anorexia, that also cause infertility. So what do you mean by anorexia? Means a psychiatric eating disorder characterized by the fear of gaining weight. So as they have the fear of gaining weight, they won't take the healthy food properly. So because of that, the body fat content become very low. So you know that mostly the sex hormones are steroid in nature. So for the synthesis of steroid hormone, our body needs lipids. So if the body fat is very low, then there will be deficiency in sex hormones. So that lead to infertility in women. So next, underdeveloped ovaries, and sometimes the female produce antibodies against partner's sperm. Okay. So sometimes the female may produce antibodies against the partner's sperm. So that will kills, that antibody will lyse or kills the sperm. Thus it leads to infertility in the case of women. So what about in the males? Men. So in the case of males, undescended testes and swollen veins in scrotum. So what do you mean by undescended testes? Means, so before the birth of male child, the testes are found inside the abdomen. So at the time of birth, before the birth, this testis should descend into the scrotum, which is found below the abdomen. So in the case of male, in some males, this testes won't descend into the scrotum. Instead, they are found inside the abdomen itself. So that also causes the infertility in males. Then other causes are tight clothing in men. That will rise the temperature in the scrotum. So already you know that in the second lesson you have learned that for the sperm production, the temperature should be 2 to 3 degree less than that of our body temperature. So that is given by the scrotum. So because of the tight clothing, that increases the temperature in the scrotum. So that will affect the sperm production. So thus it leads to male infertility. Then underdeveloped testes. Sometimes the male immune system will work against their own sperm. So it will develop autoimmunity. So the male may develop an autoimmunity against their own sperm. So, the own immune system itself kills its sperm. So, that also causes male infertility. So, next we are going to see about assisted reproductive technology, that is ART, A-R-T. So, in order to overcome this infertility, okay, in order to get a child, so there is a method that is called as assisted reproductive technology. So, actually, this technology is a collection of procedures. So, what are the procedures included under this technology is handling of gametes or embryos outside the body in order to achieve the pregnancy. Because of this technique, there may be chance of increases in the pregnancy in infertile couple. So, what are the techniques involved in this ART? That is ART, assisted reproductive technology, or so first one is intrauterine insemination, IUI. Second is in vitro fertilization, IVF. The third technique is embryo transfer, ET. So the next one is zygote intrafallopian transfer, ZIFT. So next is gamete intrafallopian transfer, GIFT. Then intracytoplasmic sperm injection, ICSI. And then pre-implantation genetic diagnosis. Then oocyte and sperm donation. Last one is surrogacy. So these are the techniques involved in ART. Now let's see one by one. So first we are going to see about intrauterine insemination. So from the heading itself we can understand that what do you mean by intrauterine insemination? That means depositing the sperm into the uterus of a female. So that is called as intrauterine insemination. So usually it is used to treat infertile men, so who have low sperm count. How they will do this procedure means first they will collect the semen from the husband or from a healthy donor. So after collecting the sperm, they introduce the sperms into the uterus through vagina by a catheter. So when they will do this means after stimulating the ovaries to produce more ova. So then only the chance of fertilization is more. So after the sperms are introduced into the uterus, the sperm swim towards the fallopian tube and fertilize the egg. That results in normal pregnancy. So that is called as intrauterine insemination. So next we are going to see about IVF, in vitro fertilization or test tube baby. So in this technique what they will do means here the sperm and eggs are allowed to unite. The fertilization occurs outside the body under laboratory condition. After fertilization, what they will do means this fertilized eggs are transferred into the woman's uterus. So in the uterus, the embryo get implanted in the uterine lining and start to develop. If there is excess embryo is there, then it will be cryopreserved for future use. If the first attempt get failed means, so by using cryopreserved embryo, they will carry out this procedure again. So that is called as future use. For whom they will use this in vitro fertilization means usually it is used to treat the women with blocked or damaged or absent fallopian tubes. But nowadays it is also used to treat for many causes of infertility. They use this IVF. So these are the steps involved in intrafertilization IVF. So first they will stimulate the ovary to produce more number of ova. Then egg retrieval is done from the ovary. So after the eggs are collected from the ovary, then they will allow the egg for fertilization with the sperm. So after fertilization, the zygote started to divide. So thus embryo will produced. The excess embryos are cryopreserved. Then after the embryo attained the 8 cell stage, then it is transferred into the uterus. So then in the uterus, the embryo get implant and started its normal development. So the pregnancy test is taken around 14th day of embryo transfer. So these are the techniques involved in IVF. These are the basic steps in IVF. So first, ovarian stimulation, egg retrieval, fertilization, embryo culture and embryo transfer. So let us see the steps one by one. So first, egg retrieval. So how they will do this egg retrieval means by minor surgery under general anesthesia using ultrasound guide. So when they will do this means after 34 to 37 hours of HGC injection, that means human chorionic gonadotropin injection. After collecting the eggs are prepared and stripped from the surrounding cells. At the same time, sperm also prepared using special media. So after the preparation of sperm and the egg, they are brought together in a single laboratory vessel. So for the fertilization of a single egg, for the fertilization of each egg, how many sperms are needed means 10,000 to 1 lakh motile sperms are needed to fertilize each egg. So after fertilization, embryo culture is carried out. So during embryo culture, the zygote is allowed to divide to form 8-cell blastoma. After formation of 8-cell blastoma, embryo transfer technique is carried out. So at this stage, the 8-cell blastoma is transferred into the uterus for successful pregnancy. So what do you mean by embryo transfer technology? Means the transfer of embryo with more than 8 blastomas stage into the uterus is called as embryo transfer technique. So next is zygote intrafallopian transfer, that is ZIFT. So from the heading itself we can understand that this fertilization is carried out outside the body, and after formation of the zygote is transferred into the fallopian tube. So that technique is called as zygote intrafallopian transfer. So the zygote undergo up to 8-cell blastoma stage, then it is transferred into fallopian tube by laparoscopy. Then the zygote continue its normal natural divisions and migrate towards the uterus. So in the uterus it get implanted and started its development. So next is intrauterine transfer. So from this also you can easily understand. So first the fertilization occur outside the body, and then the embryo is transferred directly into the uterus at 8-cell blastoma stage. Then this transfer embryo get implanted in the uterine wall for the complete development. So next, gamete intrafallopian transfer. So this is also you can easily understand from the heading. That is gamete intrafallopian transfer means the gametes, both male and female gametes are collected. That is egg and sperm are collected. Then it is directly introduced into the fallopian tube. Then in the natural method, the egg and sperm unite and form zygote, and the zygote divide and it move towards the uterus. So in the uterus it get implanted in the uterine lining and started to develop. So transfer of ovum collected from a donor into the fallopian tube. So in this, the eggs are collected from the ovaries, placed with the sperm in the fallopian tube. Okay, then the zygote travel towards the uterus and implant in the inner lining of uterus. So here the zygote is directly introduced into the fallopian tube. So this is the zygote intrafallopian transfer. So in this case, the egg and sperm are introduced into the fallopian tube. See, this is the egg and these are the sperms. So they are directly introduced into the fallopian tube. So that the fertilization occur and it is transferred into the uterus and get implant in the uterus. So that is gamete intrafallopian transfer. So next we are going to see about intracytoplasmic sperm injection. This also you can understand from the heading that a single sperm is introduced into the cytoplasm of the egg. So thus they bring out the fertilization of the egg. So here only one sperm is injected into the egg to fertilize. And here sperm is carefully injected into the cytoplasm of the egg. The chance of fertilization in this method is about 75 to 85%. And after fertilization, the zygote is allowed to divide and form 8-cell blastoma stage. And then it is transferred to the uterus for further development. So this is how they will introduce the sperm into the cytoplasm. So this is the egg and this is the egg cytoplasm. The sperm is directly injected into the egg cytoplasm. So that is called as intracytoplasmic sperm injection. Okay, then last technique is surrogacy. So actually it is a method of assisted reproduction or agreement. So in this method, a woman agreed to carry pregnancy for another person. So this another person will become the newborn child's parent after the birth of the child. Okay, next we are going to see about male infertility prevention. So how to prevent the male infertility? Before seeing male infertility prevention, you should know about the term azoospermia. So it is defined as absence of spermatozoa in ejaculated semen. So at least in 2 occasions. Actually this condition is observed approximately in 1% of the population. So in the population 1% of male do not possess any sperm in the ejaculated semen. So what are the preventive measures? How can we prevent it? So it is done by using a technique called microtesticular sperm extraction. So how they will do this sperm extraction is, so first they made a small midline incision in the scrotum. So made a small cut in the scrotum and they will done this with the help of microscope. So through microscope, the seminiferous tubules inside the testes are dilated and a small amount of testicular tissue, the tissue inside the seminiferous tubule where the active sperm production occurs. So that area is removed and it is improved for sperm yield, and that removed tissue is kept in the nutritive medium in the laboratory in order to produce more number of sperm. So that is called as microtesticular sperm extraction. Okay. The last topic, that is detection of fetal disorders during early pregnancy. So at the time of pregnancy, if there is any disorder in the developing fetus, that can be detected by using certain techniques. So first one is ultrasound scanning. So usually ultrasound scanning is performed in the first trimester. So what are the things can be detected by using ultrasound scanning? Means for dating. It is used for dating, that is to give the date for the birth of the child. Next, it is used to determine the number of fetus in the uterus. How many number of fetus are present in the uterus can be detected by using ultrasound scanning. So next, it is used to assess early pregnancy complications. So if there is any complication in the pregnancy, that can also be detected by using ultrasound scanning. Here there is no radiation is used during this procedure, and also there is no known risk are found in this technique other than there will be a mild discomfort due to pressure from the transducer on the abdomen or vagina. So this is a mild discomfort caused because of this technique. So this is the ultrasound scanning machine. So this is the transducer and this is the screen. So next we are going to see about amniocentesis. So usually it is performed in the pregnant woman between 15th and 20th week of pregnancy. So how they will do this technique means it is done by inserting a long thin needle through the abdomen into the amniotic sac. Then they will withdraw a small sample of amniotic fluid. So why they are collecting this amniotic fluid means this amniotic fluid contains cells shed from the fetus. So this is how they will do this amniocentesis. So they are inserting a long needle through the abdomen into the amniotic sac. So this is the amniotic sac. So through this needle they will withdraw. So inside it possesses amniotic fluid. So through this needle they will take a small sample of amniotic fluid. So what is the use of this amniocentesis? Means it is used to diagnose the chromosomal abnormalities in the developing fetus. The third technique is chorionic villus sampling. Actually it is done. It is a prenatal test. Prenatal means before birth. So actually it is a prenatal test. So what they will do in this technique means they'll take the sample of placental tissue to test the chromosomal abnormalities. This is also used to detect the chromosomal abnormalities in the fetus. So this is how they will do it. So actually this is the chorionic villi. So using a catheter, they will insert the catheter and they will take a small chorionic villi tissue from the chorionic villi, and it is used to test the chromosomal abnormalities. And the last technique is fetoscope. So what is the use of this fetoscope is it is used to monitor fetal heart rate and other functions during late pregnancy and labor. So labor means the events that is carried out at the time of childbirth, that is called as labor. So fetoscopy is used to monitor the fetal heart rate and other functions at the time of late pregnancy and labor. And what is the average fetal heart rate is? It is about 120 to 160 beats per minute. So if there is any abnormal fetal heart rate, that indicate fetus is not getting enough oxygen, and also it shows the other problems in the fetus. So this is the fetoscope. Well, students, in this video you have learned about the cause of infertility in male and female. You have learned about assisted reproductive technology, that is ART. Then you have learned about the male infertility prevention, and also we discussed about the detection of fetal disorders during early pregnancy. I hope that you would have understood the techniques explained here. Thank you.